Absolutely. Here's an expanded version of Scene 1, reaching roughly 1,000 words, with immersive details, tension, and emotional depth. I woke to the smell of scorched metal and earth. My ship lay broken across a field of tall, golden grass that bent and swayed as though it had a life of its own. The hull was crumpled, smoke curling upward in thin, gray wisps that vanished into the sky. I tried to move, and pain shot through my shoulder and ribs, sharp reminders that I had survived the crash by mere luck. Shaking my head to clear it, I squinted against the sunlight that filtered down through a jagged ring of cliffs surrounding me. It was a valley hidden from the world, a place that felt untouched by time or humanity. Even the air was different, thick and sweet, carrying the scent of unknown flowers and something almost metallic, like iron mixed with honey. I struggled to my feet, every movement sending tremors of pain through my body. My eyes roamed the valley, taking in the strange landscape. Trees with translucent leaves swayed in a gentle breeze, their colors shifting as though they were alive in a way I had never seen. The river that ran through the valley sparkled unnaturally, almost like liquid crystal, its currents whispering secrets in a language I could not understand. It was beautiful, but I felt a primal unease. Something about this place was not entirely welcoming, though it was breathtakingly serene. I hadn't taken more than a few steps when the ground trembled beneath me. My heart lurched, and I spun around, searching for the source. The grass parted before something enormous. At first, I thought it might be a trick of light, or perhaps a reflection in the river, but then figures emerged from between the trees. Women, gigantic women, towered over the valley like living mountains. They moved with a grace that belied their immense size, their skin gleaming in the filtered sunlight, their hair cascading like molten gold and silver waterfalls. Their eyes, fierce and molten, seemed to bore into me. I froze. My mind raced. Run, hide, fight. None seemed plausible. These creatures, though humanoid, radiated power in every gesture. Their presence was not immediately threatening, but it was undeniably dominant, as though the valley itself bowed to them. One of them stepped forward, her movement deliberate, each footfall causing the ground to ripple slightly. She stopped a few meters away and regarded me with a gaze that was calm, yet intense, almost like she could read the very thoughts in my head. "You are not of this valley," she said. Her voice was deep and melodious, resonating in my chest as if the words themselves were imbued with weight. "Yet you have come at the exact time we have awaited." I swallowed hard, trying to find my voice. "Waited, for me," I managed, though it sounded more like a croak than a question. She nodded, and a faint smile touched her lips. "Yes, you carry within you what our people have lost. The spark that can awaken the life of this valley. If you survive what is to come, our race may endure." A wave of disbelief crashed over me. I think you've got the wrong guy. I'm not a hero. I barely survived my own crash." Another of the giant women stepped closer, her skin a pale iridescent color that reflected the sunlight in shifting patterns. She reached toward a nearby stone, running her hand along it as though drawing energy from the earth. "It is not heroism that will save us," she said. "It is courage and the willingness to face what you cannot yet understand." My stomach twisted in knots. Courage. I could barely think clearly, let alone find courage. Yet, something about the certainty in their voices made my fear deepen rather than ease. Their presence was magnetic, terrifying, and commanding all at once. I felt like an ant, utterly insignificant, yet somehow holding a weight far beyond my comprehension. They guided me slowly through the valley. Every step I took was measured, deliberate, and the taller women moved around me with uncanny synchronization, creating a protective, almost ritualistic space as we walked. They spoke little, and when they did, it was in soft, melodic tones that seemed to echo off the cliffs, carried by the wind. Finally, we arrived at a clearing where a pool glimmered under the sunlight. The water was crystal clear but emitted a faint, unnatural glow. It rippled without wind, shimmering with colors that didn't exist in any spectrum I had ever known. The tallest of the women gestured toward it. "Here," she said, her voice low and resonant, "you must prove yourself. Our history is bound to this place. You are the key." I stared at the pool, my reflection distorted beneath the towering figures surrounding me. I felt tiny, almost unreal, and the enormity of the moment pressed on me like the cliffs encasing the valley. I don't understand," I whispered. "What do you want me to do?" The woman's golden eyes softened slightly. "To survive here is only the beginning. To awaken what lies dormant, you must accept your role. You are part of something greater, whether you choose to believe it or not." I tried to step closer to the pool, but fear rooted me in place. My mind screamed, telling me to run, to escape before it was too late, but another part of me, a deeper, quieter part, felt drawn forward. It was as though the valley itself was calling, pulling me toward this impossible destiny. The giant's gaze held me in place. There was no malice, no threat in it, only a profound expectation. I realized that the moment I took a step toward the pool, I would be stepping into something far larger than myself, a connection with beings who had survived centuries, who had witnessed eons, and now entrusted their fate to a human stranger. The weight of it was suffocating, yet exhilarating in a way I had never experienced. As I moved closer, the water responded. Ripples formed and expanded across its surface, glowing brighter with every hesitant step I took. The air seemed to hum, vibrating softly around me. I could feel the pulse of the valley beneath my feet, the rhythm of life that had continued here, hidden from the world, waiting for this precise moment. The tallest woman reached out a hand, enormous yet delicate, and placed it near mine. I flinched at the proximity, but her touch was surprisingly gentle, grounding me. Fear is natural, she said. Doubt is natural, but you must set them aside. Our race depends on it. The choice is yours, yet it is also no choice at all. I gazed down into the glowing water, my reflection barely recognizable beneath the shifting lights. The cliffs around us seemed to lean in, the valley holding its breath. I swallowed hard, feeling the ache of exhaustion and the rush of adrenaline all at once. My role, my responsibility, had been thrust upon me with no warning, and yet, somehow, I understood the gravity of it. My survival alone would not be enough. If I wanted to leave this valley alive, if I wanted to make it back to the world I knew, I had to embrace whatever it was these women required of me. With a trembling hand, I reached toward the pool, and as my fingers broke the surface, the light flared, washing over me, and I felt a strange warmth and energy course through my body. The giant's eyes glowed brighter, and for the first time, I sensed what they had meant. This was no mere ritual. This was a bond, a lifeline, and a test all at once. And it had begun. If you want, I can expand Scene 2 similarly to 1,000 plus words, diving into the ritual, the valley's hidden wonders, and the emotional intensity of being the catalyst for an entire race. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely. Here's an expanded version of Scene 2, around 1,000 words, following the emotional and fantastical depth of Scene 1. After my first tentative contact with the glowing pool, the giant women guided me deeper into the valley, along paths that wound between colossal trees whose trunks shimmered with a pearlescent glow. Their leaves hung like lanterns, pulsating faintly as if the forest itself were alive and watching. Every step I took felt weighted, not by my own fatigue, though that was considerable, but by the strange energy that thrummed through the valley. The air vibrated with a resonance that settled deep in my chest, and I began to understand that this place was more than a sanctuary. It was a living entity, and I was now part of its rhythm. The structures we approached were unlike anything I had ever seen. Buildings of a type one could not name spiraled upward like organic towers, as if carved directly from the living stone. Their surfaces flowed with curves that seemed impossible, yet utterly natural. Light moved along the walls in shifting patterns, responding to our presence as if the architecture itself breathed. The giant women moved among these structures like dancers in perfect synchrony, their colossal steps causing the ground to vibrate in harmony with some unseen beat. One of the women, older than the rest, her silver hair catching the sunlight and scattering it like starlight, stopped at the entrance to a chamber carved entirely from pale, iridescent stone. She extended a hand, her fingers alone longer than my entire arm. "This is where you must understand," she said, her voice a soft, vibrating echo that seemed to come from the walls themselves. "These artifacts, these symbols, these stones, they hold the history of our people, the essence of what we have been and what we could become. But it is incomplete. Only you can complete it." I stepped inside, my breath catching at the sight. The chamber was circular, enormous, and its ceiling arched high above us, studded with crystals that refracted the faint sunlight into dancing beams across the floor. The walls were etched with intricate patterns, symbols that pulsed faintly as if alive, reacting to my presence. Strange artifacts, some glowing, some made of unidentifiable metals, lined the edges of the room. I felt dwarfed, but also chosen, in a way that was both terrifying and thrilling. What kind of energies?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "And why me?" The youngest of the women stepped closer. Her hand, when she reached out, enveloped my shoulder, yet the touch was gentle, grounding. "You carry the catalyst," she explained, her golden eyes soft but piercing. It is rare, powerful, and dangerous. It has awakened within you because the valley sensed its absence. Our race has waited for this moment for centuries. The catalyst is what can reignite what has been lost, restore life to the valley, and protect our people from the darkness encroaching on our world. But you must endure, or it will consume you. I shivered, feeling a mix of awe and dread. The idea that I, a human who had stumbled here by accident, could carry the key to the survival of an entire race was staggering. The weight of responsibility pressed on me, but there was no time for hesitation. The women guided me toward the center of the chamber, where a circular platform stood, its surface carved with concentric rings and glowing lines that formed a complex, shifting pattern. It looked alive, like the blueprint of some enormous, intricate machine made of light. You must stand here, the tallest woman said, her voice calm but commanding. Let the catalyst within you resonate with our essence. It will test you. Fear, doubt, weakness, they will rise. You must overcome them. Only then can our people endure. I hesitated, staring down at the glowing patterns beneath my feet. My chest tightened, and a cold sweat ran down my spine. This was beyond anything I had imagined. Survival, intelligence, even courage as I had known it in my world, it all seemed inadequate. I was being asked to merge with something far greater, something ancient and powerful. Yet, as I looked into the eyes of the women around me, eyes that reflected centuries of knowledge, pain, hope, and resilience, I felt an undeniable pull. This was not merely a test. It was a calling. Swallowing my fear, I stepped onto the platform. The ground beneath me hummed instantly, a vibration that seemed to match the rhythm of my heartbeat. Lines of light on the platform expanded, spiraling outward and connecting with the glowing etchings on the walls. The chamber pulsed, and I felt an invisible force press gently against my mind, probing, testing, assessing. I stumbled slightly, and the tallest woman reached out, her massive hand steadying me, yet the platform continued to hum, indifferent to my uncertainty. Visions exploded across my consciousness, fleeting, incomprehensible, yet deeply stirring. I saw the valley in its prime. Vast forests, rivers that glowed like liquid crystal, and the giant women thriving in harmony with the land. I saw war, drought, and disease tearing through the population, leaving only fragments of what had been. And then, a void, a silence so complete that it almost broke me. I realized the catalyst within me was being drawn to fill that emptiness, to reconnect what had been lost. The chamber pulsed brighter, my limbs ached, my mind spun, and I felt fear rising like a tide that threatened to sweep me away. But then, a strange warmth coursed through me, different from anything I had ever felt. It was as though the valley itself had reached into me, wrapping around my essence, drawing strength from my very being, and returning it amplified. The fear ebbed slightly, replaced by clarity, focus, and a sense of unity I could not describe. I realized that this was not just about power, it was about harmony. The valley, the women, and the catalyst within me were threads of a single tapestry. My heartbeat synchronized with the pulse of the glowing platform, the energy of the chamber, and the rhythm of life in the hidden valley. Every doubt, every hesitation, every question that had plagued me moments ago seemed distant, irrelevant. I was part of something larger than myself, something ancient, beautiful, and fragile. The giant women closed their eyes, their faces serene. The oldest whispered, "Do not fear the connection. Do not resist. You are not alone." The words reverberated through the chamber, through my bones, through the very air around us. I felt the energy of the catalyst fully awaken, flowing from my core outward, intertwining with the glowing symbols, the artifacts, and the essence of the women themselves. The light expanded, filling the chamber, spilling into the valley beyond, illuminating the hidden world with a brilliance that seemed almost holy. And in that moment, I understood. Survival was no longer a personal struggle. It was a shared journey, a merging of destinies. I was the spark, yes, but the fire was theirs too, and together, we could heal what had been broken for centuries. The chamber pulsed once more, then settled into a calm glow. My limbs were weak, my body trembling from the effort, but my mind had never been clearer. I had faced the catalyst, endured its trials, and emerged connected, alive, and responsible for the survival of a race I had only just discovered. The tallest woman stepped closer, placing her immense hand over my heart. "You have done it," she said softly. "You have awakened the life of the valley. Our people will endure, because of you." I sank to my knees, the enormity of what had just happened pressing down on me. Tears blurred my vision, but I did not move them away. For the first time since my arrival, I felt not fear, but belonging. I belong to this hidden valley, to the women who had guided me, and to a destiny far greater than I could have imagined. And as the light in the chamber settled into a steady, pulsating glow, I knew that my life, my very purpose, had irrevocably changed. If you want, I can also create highly detailed image prompts for both scenes, capturing the hidden valley, the giant women, and the mystical energy of the catalyst process. This would let you visualize your story vividly or even generate illustrations. Do you want me to do that?